Okay, how many here attended the class yesterday? Shit, okay. Alright, so the topic today is going to be on close quarter fighting. In JKD, we usually teach 4 basic ranges. You have one range where you kick, you have one range where you punch, then you have your close quarter fighting, and then you have grappling. Into your trapping, right? So if you so just to show it too, there is 2 aspects into trapping. The first aspect, or the favorite aspect, the favorite range you want to be in, is where you have this guy's neck. Because when you have this guy's neck, in the interpretation of JKD I do, this is where your fight really starts. All the other ranges is just play. It's just a game for you to survive long enough that you can get this guy's neck. When you have this guy's neck, everything from here is for you. Think about it. Any karate, taekwondo, boxing, all these striking arts, the moment you get into here, what happens? The referee breaks you apart, right? Somebody here got kicked in the balls. That's why you don't. Thank you. That's why kicking in the balls is not allowed. Because one shot, you go like ding, boom, finish. Remember Conor McGregor and who was Manny Pacquiao? Or no, not Manny Pacquiao. Mayweather. Imagine if Conor McGregor just kicked him. Bing! There, 100 million. Bye-bye. Good night. Right? You'd be pissed as fuck. So that's why when you get into this trapping, a lot of the nasty stuff, how you take the out, where you bite, all that stuff is open. So now, I'm not talking about when do you do what. I'm just simply talking about this is the extreme part of self-defense. It's not where you can run away, you can't hide, you can't talk your way out of it, and you can't pay yourself out of it. Right? It's that black and white where you have to fight and you don't know if you're going to be here the next 10 seconds. So it's that kind of scenario, okay? But in JKD, you're supposed to be able to injure to a degree. If it's a drunk friend, an uncle, then maybe an elbow across the face is not a good idea. Maybe a shoulder lock or a wrist lock, something to just make him calm down is okay. But now we're talking about the extreme part. You understand? So it's like you may be potentially getting raped, some men potentially getting raped, whatever. It's that part where you don't know if you're going to be here, right? But before we get here, right, and we're not here, there's a potential where you can punch this guy and your hands can collide. That means if your hands goes here, then somebody gets an idea, you throw a haymaker, and then you're grappling, and then you're on the floor. So before we do that, the reason why it's this, what we're going to work on fast is just the hand trapping. The hand trapping is the second range. That hand trapping is, I'm here where his hands is in the way. I need to clear this barrier before I can get my favorite one. But these 2 things is trapping. It's almost like grappling, but this is trapping because you're trapping his neck. This is also trapping, but this is the art that's mostly Wing Chun. You know, Wing Chun, where they do all those stuff? That's Wing Chun. JKD also has Wing Chun because it has its origins in Wing Chun. Filipino boxing also has a little bit of trapping. Not from Wing Chun, but it's just because Wing Chun, the last form you learn in Wing Chun is the butterfly knives. There's just 2 knives. You see all these Wing Chun people that always have 2 knives because that's the last form you're taught. But that's also the one that's most expensive. And then they teach you the form and then people go, oh, is that why we're doing all the techniques? Because it's all based on weaponry. Now JKD is also based on weaponry. It's based on fencing. So weapon arts have tactics, they have certain principles that overlap because it's the same shit, right? So now we're just going to work on the hand trapping first, and then we'll go to the headbutt, knees, and elbow. The headbutt, knees, and elbow, just to illustrate, or just to reiterate, is the same as you pulling out a gun or pulling out a knife. That's the same magnitude of, so if you're doing this, that's the end, that's the spectrum we're talking about. But the headbutt, knees, and elbow, it's not something you need to train. What are you going to do? Stand in a heavy bag and then headbutt for like 5 minutes? Doesn't work that way. There's only a few mechanics and then that's it. So we're going to take that at the very end because then all this is going to be the fun part. Okay? So, just like last time, when we stand up, make sure you find your partners right away, all right? So the first thing we're just gonna work from a reference point. I know nobody fights this way, but it's the way to teach you how to work the technique first. Has anyone done Wing Chun before? Yeah, you've done it a little bit? Okay. So, all right, think of it this way, okay? Imagine him and me, we punch, and then we're hitting each other. So we're not talking about where you disengage and you start again. We hit here. So either I do this, and then I start again. But let's just say we hit. Instead of me resetting the range and then starting over again, how do I get past this barrier? Is everyone with me? All right. So in Wing Chun, in trapping, when you punch, you don't punch like this. You always punch like this. Why? Because in boxing, it's okay to punch and curve your shot. Because notice I'm making a swing. It's okay because you're further away and you will hit straight on. But when you're in trapping, you are this much closer. If I do this, right, and I punch like this in this range, I'm gonna get hit in the face. It's like, it's easy. What's the fastest point? What's the fastest direction between 2 points? A curve or a straight? Straight, yeah? So in Wing Chun, they're always forcing you to punch in a straight line because that's the fastest route to hit your target. Now in Wing Chun or in trapping, you are fighting for this line that's right here between me and him. If I can hit him here, he has to go around. And if he goes around, I hit him all the time. So in Wing Chun, you're always fighting for this fucking center line all the time. That's your main objective. If I get him to go around, good for me, pop, 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 I hit him. So that's the rule you're fighting with. You're trying to get the fastest route. Now, in Filipino martial arts, the panantukan, it's different because then the mentality is different. The mentality is, yeah. You can have the straight line, but I'll hit you on the off line. So the Filipinos, they do one thing, the Chinese do another thing. So what we're gonna do is this. I just want you to start from reference point here. Don't push anywhere up and down. Just keep it neutral. Because in Wing Chun, when you have a pressure, if he's pushing it this way, you don't move, you give in, because now you hit. So it's like, imagine 2 needles, and then you want the pressure to be precise. A little bit too much left to right, one of you is gonna get hit. Does it make sense? So I'm just explaining the mechanics first. So you start from your trapping here, from your reference point. Now, what I'm gonna do now is I need to remove this barrier, because I can't hit him, he can't hit me. So imagine this is swords. If he thrusts and I thrust, we're gonna hit it, we're gonna miss, because we're not on the same attacking line. You get me? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to remove this barrier so I can hit him. Now I can hit him. But notice I did not do this. Because if I do this, he punches. So imagine the moment you remove the barrier, you want this to go straight to the face. Giver det mening? Forestil dig, it's like en fjeder, der sidder i klemme, og lige så snart det giver slip, så skyder den ud. So imagine it's like a coil and it's primed, because this is, let's say, 25 or 50% of my punch. Now it's large charged. When I release this, it goes straight to the face. So the first one you want to do now is you want to do your pak sao. Pak sao just means slapping hand. So when I do my pak sao, I'm going to step forward and punch. And please don't hit each other in the face. I've seen it way too many times. When you do your pak sao, hit and retract. Wing Chun people, they always do it like this. Like that. But it's not, you will miss. So when you do your trap, also take one step forward. Just a little bit, so you can hit his face. You get it? But when you punch, it's important you retract. Like that. See? Because the idea is this. I promise I won't talk the whole thing through. In Wing Chun, what they're working for is they have this like a bubble, and then they're always standing like this. They have their front hand is called the Wu Sao. It means asking hand. And what they do is they're working on sensitivity. That means the legend of Wing Chun is when the Shaolin Temple was destroyed, a nun escaped, right? And then she met some business person that had a daughter which was supposed to get married to this warlord. The daughter doesn't want to fight this warlord, and then they make a deal that if the daughter can fight the warlord off, she doesn't have to get married. So now this nun from the Shaolin Temple had to teach this little girl how to defend herself. And because it's a female, you can't work force against force, but you could work sensitivity. So your higher sensitivity allows you to hit this guy. because it's not based on strength. That's the legend. So the Wing Chun system is designed for women where you're working your sensitivity as a better. So that means in Wing Chun, the fight starts the moment you have connection, because if he pushes, I can read his pressure and I can hit him. So that's the idea of it, right? So in Wing Chun, they're always trying to do this, and they always want their rules out to make connection. So when if you connect, if you spar with a really good Wing Chun guy, and you walk into that bubble and they get a connection, you're finished. Because any twitch you do, they'll read you. Because in this range, it's not from here and here, it's a visual stimuli. When you go here, it's tactile. That means it's what you feel. You feel faster than you can see. So you're always trying to work your sensitivity. But the mentality in JKD and Wing Chun is different. In Wing Chun, you need the touch to fight, but in Wing Chun and JKD, you don't need to. You can still strike. But if I hit him in the face and I get a barrier, now I'm forced to trap. So in JKD, you have two options. So start from your reference point, trap the hand, vertical punch and retract. Just like this. Okay? Just that. Don't do this. Because I don't want him to block. And then I do my, no, I want to hit him. There. If he blocks, he's having a good day. There. Okay? Just like this. One side does 10. And then, okay? 10 times each, only right side to right side. Go. Skal vi med? As in, you're correct. If you need help, raise your hands. I'll come help you. Okay, time! You're all doing it wrong. Alright, sit down real quick. I'm not going to talk so much. When you trap the hand, right, you only need enough to punch. So don't do this. Don't do this. Because if he does that, do a big one where you punch out like that, you're only giving him an excuse to hit you again. Trap down, and that's your eardrum. So when he pushes me down, he gives me this energy to go around and hit the eardrum. So you don't hammer it, because if it's like this. It's like a woman and you're in an argument. The more you argue with her, the more crap you're going to get in your face. So you might as well just shut up and do this. So when he traps, he's only going to trap enough to hit me. He's not going to make it worse, because then I'm just going to use that momentum to hit again. So when you hit, it's just this. There, not that. The agenda is not this. My goal is to fucking punch this guy in the face. So just enough to hit. Not that. Okay? Go.
Hitman just the same.
I don't know. I'm not make sure the other guy also gets to do the traps. I'm not gonna waste your time just doing basic shit. We have to do all the cool shit. So this is just the first one. So the Pak Sao means slapping hand. That means you have a barrier and you're just removing it enough. Now the next one we're gonna work is the sister technique. So if this is a pushing motion, the next one is gonna be what? Yes, cool. So now I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take this hand, I'm gonna do a lap sao. Lap sao just means pulling hands. When I pull, I'm gonna use this hand and pull down to my hips and punch. Notice when I pull, I'm not doing like an Aikido where I'm doing a wide pull. I'm just doing here, straight down and punch. Imagine this, I'm gonna do it to him real quickly. When I do my lap sao, you are pulling and punching at the same time. So it's like two cars hitting each other. When you pull, you're supposed to pull this so hard that it does that. And imagine as you do that, there's the punch. You get it? So when you pull, you can try it once where you just do this to know how hard you can pull. But when you do the technique with the punch, don't, because you will punch this guy. So when you do the pull, the moment you do the pull here, you want to put this hand on his forearm right away and hit. Because in Wing Chun, you're not using your eyes to hit, you're using your touch. Because if I do this, that means I still need to use my eyes to hit. It's a waste. You just need to put it here, then I can look everywhere and this will always go up to the face. So the moment you pull, there's your one. So notice I'm pulling my hips, I put it here, the moment I can, here, because this will slide up and punch. When I did JKD and trapping, all of us that had long hair got shaved off, first hour. And if your arm was not red, you didn't do it hard enough. So if you have long hair, or some female have long hairs, this is my gift to you. You get to shave it off. So here, do the here, pull your lap sao, and punch. Just 10 times, only from right side to right side. There, just that, okay?